Mackenzie Andrew, U112897 EDX 2170. Adverbials are words or phrases that function as major clause constituents, typically expressing place, time, or manner. In this assignment, we were tasked with picking a writing sample from a student. The writing sample chosen was writing sample 1, where it was noted that the writing sample required support with adverbials. This was linked to the Australian curriculum requirements following the English curriculum for grade 4. The strand is language, the substrand is language for expressing and developing ideas, and the content description is AC9E4LA08, understanding how adverb groups, phrases, and prepositional phrases work in different ways to provide circumstantial details about an activity. To assist in teaching the students about adverbs, a mentor text was chosen. The mentor text chosen was Possum Magic by Mem Fox, written in 1983. This text was chosen because it is rich in adverbial phrases to give context to the time and place of this story. The story was set in Australia and has lots of references to Australian culture, helping make the story engaging and relevant to the student, and is also free to watch on YouTube. 3 example sentences where adverbials are used are shown on the screen. The 3 sentences are a great introduction to simple but effective adverbials used to make a story more enriching. For example, in the sentence, "So later that day they left the bush where they'd always been to find out what it was that would make Hush seen." The adverb later that day indicates the time of the action, while where they'd always been provides detail on the location. Similarly, in "Just before breakfast she shouted, 'It's something to do with food.'" The adverbial "just before breakfast" specifies the time when the shouting occurred. Lastly, in "Later on a beach in Perth they ate a piece of pavlova," the adverbials "later" and "on a beach in Perth" indicate the time and place. A lesson plan was developed based on the writing sample and the students' need for support with the grammar feature adverbials. The lesson plan was created using a series of models based off research on child learning and development, with the aim of creating a meaningful and engaging lesson. The lesson plan starts off by building on the foundation knowledge and revisiting children's knowledge of narratives and adverbials. The book Possum Magic by Mem Fox is then read. Using the theory on genre approach, we explore the genre of the text and look at what a narrative is and its features. The use of a narrative read before exploring the genre allows children to relate to the two as they grow to understand the features of the narrative. Engaging and formative questions such as the purpose of the book, how we know it is a narrative, who the author and illustrator are, and who the audience should be asked to broaden children's understanding while also giving feedback and noting knowledge. It is important to redefine the definition of an adverbial phrase and, if the book has been read before, test students' recall of knowledge. This lesson includes both macro and micro grammar features. On a macro level, we understand how texts are made cohesive through the use of linking devices, including pronoun reference and text connectives. On a micro level, we understand how adverb groups, phrases, and prepositional phrases work in different ways to provide circumstantial details about an activity. It is also important to consider the contextual register features of the text as we work to build important foundation knowledge with the students. The field is the subject matter and follows the storyline of Grandma Poss and Hush traveling around Australia in an effort to make Hush visible. The tenor looks at the role and relationships in the story, where it is clear a visible, strong family connection between Hush and Grandma Poss exists. We then look at the mode, which is the communication channel. The communication channel is communicated in the form of a narrative which tells the story through storytelling and pictures. Lastly, the focus is on getting children to read aloud with the ultimate goal of having children be able to identify and highlight adverbials in the story. All of these features can be contributed to by the children. Students should be able to write by the end of their lesson and identify adverbials when read aloud by the teacher or when written by their peers. The elaboration section of the lesson plan follows an I do, we do, you do method, as aligned with the gradual release of responsibility model. The teacher writes a sentence on the board with adverbials, encouraging students to contribute to this sentence. Together, the teacher should be explaining adverbs as they teach and providing verbal feedback. The students then help to contribute to the sentence before finally writing their own sentence. Discussions on how adverbials make text richer and what text should look like without adverbials is also encouraged. Students should discuss with the author why the author used specific adverbials and how these choices affect the reader's understanding and engagement with the story. Assessment of the reading lesson is conducted through formative assessment. Students work in pairs to review each other's sentences, focusing on adverbials. They provide feedback on the use of adverbs and suggest improvement. Evidence is collected by gathering students' work with written feedback to gauge their ability to write adverbials, review adverbials, and provide feedback and suggestions. Feedback is provided continually through the lesson, correcting students in real time as they learn. A summary of feedback is given at the end of the lesson, and written feedback is provided after peer-reviewed sentences have been read. The detailed reading lesson is designed with the purpose of teaching adverbials. We will know the lesson plan addresses the learning priority, being adverbial use in text, when students can highlight the adverbial words or phrases and add them successfully into a sentence. There are 4 theories that this lesson plan is structured around. The first is the 4-resource model. The 4-resource model has 4 facets: code breaker, text participant, text user, and text analyst. The purpose of being a code breaker is to understand adverbials. This is achieved throughout the lesson by having children identify and highlight the adverbial in the sentence. A text participant is able to comprehend the text. Students should be able to discuss the meaning of adverbials and how they change the text. A text user is using the text for a specific purpose. A text analyst is able to critically analyze a text. A teacher will be holding a discussion at the end of the lesson to judge if students are critically analyzing the text. The gradual release of responsibility model has been heavily used for this lesson plan. This looks at modeling an I do, we do, you do. The focus lesson, the guided instruction, the collaboration, and the independent is all seen in the lesson plan as discussed. The functional model of language is a theory that all texts create meaning and serve a social purpose. This lesson uses the functional model of language by teaching students how language function in contexts. Adverbials are important text features that provide circumstantial details to the story, and it is important that students have the ability to use this language feature purposefully and effectively to create engaging texts. Lastly, genre approach was chosen. As the mentor text chosen was a novel, the lesson plan allows for students to gather context on how to write narratives using real-time examples. Later, when they are writing narratives, they will be able to link the two and add adverbials into their writing, remembering the work they learnt in Possum Magic. By incorporating these models, the lesson ensures that students not only learn to identify and use adverbials, but also understand the purpose and effect within a text, developing a comprehensive set of literacy skills.